are going to look at it. So foul there on Indiana, on hold there. But then that is a technical.
That is a technical. Dead ball, contact technical.
It's a little surprising to see so many of these happen in one game because...
Oh, and I don't like the way Lexie Hull.
The Fever walked into Minnesota already missing half their team. Caitlin Clark, Sophie Cunningham, Chloe Bibby, Sydney Colson, and Aari McDonald all sidelined. Odyssey Sims limped her way onto the court just to give her team a winning chance. And then the refs delivered the real blow of the night. Lexie Hull takes an elbow to the face from Kayla McBride, and somehow she gets whistled for the foul. Caitlin Clark loses it on the sidelines. Honestly, how does this keep happening? If you thought the injuries were the biggest problem, wait until you hear how the officiating is stacking the odds against them. Do you think the refs are out to get the Fever? Drop your thoughts in the comments.
Every time a game happens in the WNBA, somebody's getting abused, somebody getting beaten, somebody is getting hurt, man. Somebody is getting hurt every game in the WNBA, and they just fail to realize this, fail to have any protocols on stopping the nonsense.
Indiana had to face one of the toughest teams in the league with more than half their roster missing. Caitlin Clark's been sidelined for over a month with a groin injury. Sophie Cunningham's season ended with an MCL tear. Chloe Bibby is dealing with a bad knee. Sydney Colson tore her ACL, done for the year. And Aari McDonald, a foot injury, has her out too. That's 5 players gone. And all thanks to the refs and the league's clear bias against the Indiana Fever and Caitlin Clark. Odyssey Sims, basically Clark's backup's backup, wasn't even close to healthy but still dragged herself onto the court. Just hearing that list is exhausting. Now imagine actually trying to compete at a pro level with that many holes in your lineup.
The Indiana Fever's injury bug is getting into spooky territory. It seems like there's a new player every single day that's getting injured. Right now they have Caitlin Clark out, not sure if she will be returning this season. Sid Colson out with a season-ending ACL tear. Aari McDonald out with a season-ending fracture in her foot. Sophie Cunningham out with a season-ending MCL tear. And then just today, before the game, they announced that Chloe Bibby would be out with a knee injury, and basically they just said it's soreness and they're just playing it safe.
And it wasn't just about losing star power. All those injuries completely wrecked Indiana's rotation. Their guards and wings were gone overnight, which left players like Lexie Hull and Kelsey Mitchell carrying way more than they were supposed to. Just 2 nights ago, also against Minnesota, Hull had to play a career-high 37 minutes and score 23 points, not because she was feeling it, but because there was literally nobody else to take the load. That's not a breakout game. That's survival. When your starters are forced to play more minutes than ever, every possession feels like an uphill battle. Hull can put up those numbers, no doubt, but asking that of your starters every single night, that's physically draining.
Lexie, did you come into tonight kind of expecting to play darn near the whole game just with the injury situation and the personnel available?
Damn, you played 37 minutes.
I mean, you played a lot too, Kels. When did you play? 35. I mean, yeah, we're down people, so gotta suck it up, play a little tired a few minutes, and take in those timeouts as best we can. But yeah, I mean, we're down people, so everyone's got to do a little more.
Indiana tried to patch things up with hardship contracts, basically emergency signings just to keep the roster alive. Odyssey Sims, who was already banged up, suddenly had to play like the steady hand of the team. Aerial Powers, she barely unpacked her bags before being thrown straight into big minutes. None of these players had time to build chemistry or find their rhythm, but they were still expected to perform. And when you're shuffling lineups like that, it kills team flow. You've basically got a group learning each other's moves in real time while the other team is busy picking apart every weakness.
We've had 3 players in the last I don't know how many days, and 2 of those players are point guards, so not really. But you know, at the same time, our ability to make plays out of what we have. right? I think a lot of our spacing allows players to do what they do best, creates opportunities for them to be successful, and then it's just making the right reads and finding the right pass, on time, on target. And some of that is with experience with your teammates, and some of that is instinct. And so we are trying to do as much as we can to put players in position to use those instincts.
Even Coach Stephanie White admitted the Fever were dealing with a level of physical play their shorthanded roster just couldn't keep up with. And calling it different was her polite way of saying nearly impossible. Every drive, every defensive stop took max effort from a team with no depth left. Still, Kelsey Mitchell went off for 26, cutting through traps, fighting non-stop pressure, and for stretches, it honestly looked like she might carry the Fever all by herself. That's superstar stuff. But when most of your teammates are emergency signings, there's only so far one player can drag you. I am not saying that their new players are bad, it's just that Indiana had so much potential and the league is wasting it for some reason.
At this rate, the Fever are going to end the season with a completely different team than what they started the season with. And even the players that they're bringing in on hardship or that they're signing midway through the season, they're now going down with injuries. The season from hell would be an understatement on this team right now.
Here's the thing, it wasn't about effort. The Fever were fighting for survival. They clawed through a nightmare situation. And just when you thought the injuries were enough of a problem, the referees found a way to make it even worse.
Here's Mitchell. I think that's a 2. Doesn't go. And now it's McBride getting pulled. That one might be a problem. Indiana just taking shots to the face.
So what do you do when even the refs become part of the problem? That's what Indiana had to deal with. Hull, already logging way too many minutes, takes an elbow to the face from McBride while defending. She goes down, holding her face, clearly a foul, right? Everyone in the arena expected a flagrant. Instead, the whistle goes against Hull. The player who got hit ends up being the one punished. The crowd couldn't believe it.
And Hull is checking her jaw. See that one again. Kayla McBride goes up, grabs the board, and she wants to get free because Hull has her kind of wrapped, and boy, that's a hard swing. They're gonna review it.
And when fans thought a review would fix it, nope. The slow motion replay somehow made it worse. Officials slightly upgraded the call, but still stopped short of actually holding McBride responsible. Hull clearly took the hit, went down in pain, yet Indiana got burned in the exchange. How do you even explain that?
Boom! Right there. Oh my goodness. Boom! Right in the face, man. Right in the face. Now, like I stated, I get it. You might be mad that Lexie put her hand on your forehead. But fam, there is no reason for you to be throwing elbows to somebody's face like that. Come on, man. Throwing elbows to the face.
Naturally, Fever fans lit up social media. Was this just one bad call, or is it part of a bigger pattern where Indiana never seems to get the benefit of the whistle? Because over and over again, when a Fever player gets shoved, hit, or elbowed, the foul rarely goes their way. It's building a reputation. The league doesn't mind opponents turning up the physical play as long as Indiana's the punching bag. And when you're already losing half your roster to injuries, the last thing you need is the refs making things worse.
Kayla McBride, 13 points for Kayla McBride. Hit Lexie Hull with an elbow. Foul on Lexie Hull. Hits Lexie Hull with an elbow, foul on Lexie Hull. I understand.
Now, Minnesota's physical play wasn't against the rules. Lots of teams thrive that way. The problem, Indiana never got the same treatment. Coach White even hinted at it, suggesting the game was called differently depending on which jersey you wore. And she wasn't wrong. Fever drives ended with bodies on the floor and no whistles, while the smallest bump at the other end got called instantly. That kind of inconsistency just fuels frustration for the players and the fans.
This was intentional. Now, if it wasn't intentional, okay, give it a flagrant one. I understand it. She wasn't trying to do it. Cool. But this was intentional. All right? She had malice on the heart with this one. Bad intentions. Okay? She was trying to wreck some stuff up there doing this one. Hey, let's just keep it a grand, man. Let's just keep it a grand. Kayla McBride was trying to knock Lexie right on her booty cheeks, but she succeeded at, fam. Knocked her clean out. Look.
This wasn't just a single missed whistle. To Indiana, it felt like confirmation. Like they weren't just fighting other teams, they were fighting the system itself. Officiating bias wasn't a fluke anymore, it was another opponent. And instead of folding, the Fever kept digging in, relying on unlikely heroes just to stay alive in the game.
Knocked her clean out, man. Oh my goodness. I mean, folded. Look at how her legs are folded right here. Come on, man. Knocking her clean out right here. That was bad intentions, dog. That was bad intentions. I don't care what anybody say, man. That was bad intentions, man. And the refs have to do something about it. You have to make sure that players don't feel comfortable getting out of pocket and doing things like that.
Any other team missing this many starters would have folded early, but not Indiana. Instead of collapsing, they pushed back. Mitchell kept pouring in points, 26 in total, answering run after run until she simply ran out of gas. She was the lifeline. Without her, this would have been ugly quick. But she refused to let it happen, attacking the rim, staying aggressive even when the refs weren't on her side.
Indiana started this game 9 of 13, but has missed 4 straight until Shea.
The unexpected spark came from Shea Petty, who had barely even arrived before Indiana threw her into big minutes. Normally, an emergency signing is just there to fill a roster spot, but Petty dropped 16 off the bench like she'd been in the system all season. No rhythm, no time to adjust, and she still stepped right into the offense. That's how desperate the Fever are right now, and she delivered.
Reaction looked like it was a lot more violent than that. It's still gotta hurt though. The pass from Williams. Oh, Collier is blocked.
Meanwhile, Aaliyah Boston anchored the defense. She was doubled, shoved, bumped, you name it, but never backed off. She battled for rebounds, kept Minnesota from owning the paint, and gave Indiana the second chances they desperately needed. She didn't have to put up big scoring numbers to make an impact. Her toughness was the glue holding it all together. And don't forget Lexie Hull's huge game right before this, 23 points in 37 minutes. That's not a role she's usually asked to play, which makes it even more important. Then you add aerial powers, another last-minute pickup thrown straight into real minutes after Cunningham's injury, and you start to see just how far everyone on this roster has been stretched.
Dribble. Carrington got a piece of it. Powers gets it back. Second attempt, up and in. And she's fouled. The basket, and then she's just fighting and battling for her shot.
That's why fans keep asking the same thing. What happens when Caitlin Clark finally comes back? If this patched up roster filled with last-minute signings can still push playoff contenders, imagine what a healthy Clark could do. Right now, Indiana's hanging on to 8th place by a thread. And every game feels like the postseason already. Everyone knows there's one player who can flip their future. The only question is, when does Clark return? Well, fans finally got a glimpse of hope. Clark was back on the practice floor in Minnesota. She wasn't cleared to play yet, but just seeing her moving with her teammates completely changed the vibe. After weeks of sitting out, even showing up for shoot-around felt like a spark. For a team that's been beaten up and shorthanded, that moment was like a breath of fresh air.
This team needs Caitlin Clark to come back in the worst way. Not only if they want to save this, if they want to even play in mid to late September. This isn't a playoff team, what we're watching right now. This isn't a playoff team. This is a Kelsey Mitchell, please save us team. Kelsey Mitchell, we need 40 and 10. 40 points, 10 assists from you every night to be in the playoffs. We need a Herculean effort in the second half. We need Lexie Hull catching fire late in the fourth quarter and in overtime for this team to continue to stay in the playoffs.
And the timing couldn't be better. Indiana is sitting in 8th place, the very last playoff spot, with a 19-18 record after that Minnesota loss. They're only 1 game ahead of the Sparks, and there are just 7 games left. The problem? Those 7 are brutal. Seattle, Golden State, Chicago, and LA are all waiting. No freebies, no breaks. If Indiana slips even a little, they could fall out of 8th and miss the playoffs completely. That's how thin the margin is. 1 bad stretch, and their season's done.
We got our best indication yet that Caitlin Clark is on her way back toward a return for the Indiana Fever. That's because she was seen participating in shoot-around before the Minnesota Lynx game. Now, that doesn't mean she's playing. She's still out for that game, and she hasn't returned to full practice yet, but she is back on the court with her teammates. This coming on the heels of Stephanie White saying she hopes that Clark would return to the lineup before the regular season is out, and that when you see her participating in practice, you will know she's on the way back.
The difference without Clark has been obvious. Nobody's running the offense. Nobody's drawing defenders and opening space. Mitchell can score. Boston can dominate inside. But neither is a floor general. Without Clark, every possession looks disconnected, like pieces moving with no real plan. And yeah, the hardship players have stepped up, but they can only take you so far. That's why every tiny clip of Clark at practice blows up online. Fans dissect her footwork, her speed, even her body language, desperate for any sign she's about to return. Because the playoff math is getting scary. 1 slip and LA could catch them in a heartbeat.
You know, so you see Caitlin Clark, this video captured by Chloe Peterson at shoot-around. You can see Caitlin doing some work right there, just, you know, warm-up work, back and forth on the court, but nonetheless on a basketball court. It's been a long time since we've seen Caitlin Clark on a basketball court, certainly a long time since we've seen Caitlin Clark play basketball. Then there was a little bit more footage here, and you see Caitlin involved on the floor yet again, even handling the ball, working with her teammates. I mean, that's an important sign there, to see her working with her teammates.
What Clark brings isn't just buckets, it's balance. She makes Boston and Mitchell better, slows the chaos, and makes Indiana look like an actual playoff team again. No emergency signing can do that. That's why her return means everything. It's not just another injured player coming back, it's the difference between a postseason run and an early vacation. Hope is rising, fans are restless, and everyone knows what's at stake. But the question remains, can one player, even Caitlin Clark, carry this team past injuries and officiating bias? The Fever are fighting 2 battles every night, their opponents and the refs. That doesn't just drain your body, it tests your mentality. You can see it in the players' faces after certain calls. You can feel it in the fans' anger online. So will Clark's return be enough to lift them through it all? Whatever happens, the fight this team has shown won't be forgotten, especially if it pushes them into the playoffs. So what do you think? Are the refs out to get the Fever? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss out. Click the video on screen and we'll see you next time.